Hi, welcome back to the cabin. Came up for a few days this week to look at the foliage and to split some firewood. But I don't know if that's going to happen because the next 3 days, now they're talking about rain. So, in that case, I'll be doing some stuff inside instead. Splitting some kindling here to get a fire going. It's damp outside, so I need to warm the place up a bit. It was cold this morning. When I got up, it was 42 degrees inside. I think the low last night was 35 degrees outside. So I hooked up the Mr. Buddy heater to warm things up quickly. I had to read the instructions because it's been a year since I used this thing, but it's working good. I'm going to do an experiment and see how long it takes to get the temperature in here up to the 60s from 42. Also 42 to 62, be 20-degree increase. We'll see how long it takes Mr. Heater to do that. I bought a Marine 12-volt radio, AM, FM stereo, and it's got Bluetooth and USB connections. So I'm going to install that this trip. I want to be able to get some music up here and some radio stations. Came with two waterproof speakers, one of which is on the left there. I also purchased an antenna for it to get better reception on AM and FM. So last night I stripped some 14 gauge wire for the power supply, and next I have to mount one of those speakers in that far wall. Right now I'm just going to put it about halfway up, because this will be the next wall that I put tongue and groove up. So that'll just be a temporary spot for it so I can get a little bit of tunes, and then we'll move it up toward the top when my tongue and groove work gets closer to the top there. I got my radio and speakers installed. I am pleasantly surprised that I can pick up a number of stations up here in the mountains. So I tried it with one speaker on the right first, and things worked well, so I added the second speaker today. And it doesn't sound that bad. Got this hooked up to the 12-volt system. So that's what it sounds like. The antenna connector just plugs in the back here, and I just laid the antenna up on a couple of the loft joists. It's that white piece of plastic there. And yeah, this is going to work good. I got tunes, and now I can listen to news. I'm insulating again in the basement. Last trip I got about 1/3 done. Going to continue. These are the bays over the water tanks. So I'm going to put a piece of plywood on top of the tanks. That way I can climb up there and get the insulation up. If it's not too dark, I'll show you that. I decided to hook up my radio to my main golf cart batteries. So I need to drill a hole through the wall there into the cellar and run some wire down. And I need to drill another hole in this bay underneath the switch box, which I will connect it to eventually. While I'm in here connecting these wires, I decided to tidy up a bit. A couple of these wires, I just wrapped the ends around the post on the ground, negative ground. So I don't like that. Using the ring connector is more secure, so I'm going to put these on and then connect those up to the ground bus. And screw that back in. There we go, much better. I don't know if you can see here or not, but this is something I would have done in 8th grade or high school. I didn't know about these connectors back then. So I'll finish these other two and finish hooking up. So those are the grounds. We'll finish hooking up this wire here to the positive. I know the colors are not correct, but we're off grid and I know it's what. I don't know if anybody else will know it's what, but that's all right. This is the west wall of the cabin, which will be the next wall that I put up tongue and groove. So before I do that, I have to run a couple wires here. Basically, I'm having 110 volt and 12 volt DC outlets in each wall. The one on the left there, that's going to be 120 volt AC. And then across from it, I'm going to put a 12 volt DC outlet so I can plug in various devices. And for the 12 volt DC outlets, I'm going to use these plugs, which are basically meant for 220 volts. But there's no way you can plug a 110 volt device standard plug into this outlet. So that's why I'm going to use them. And there's no way to plug one of these plugs that mates with this outlet into a 120 volt outlet either. So you can't plug your 12 volt appliance into 120 volt AC. So those will be going in. But I got to run 2 wires up to the loft so I can bring AC and DC power up there. I'll have 2 outlets up there as well. So to run those wires, I have to cut through the sill here, drill through the sill here, and then I have to drill through this fire blocking piece of wood here, and then I can run my wires from the loft down into the basement and hook them up later. And then once I've done that, I can actually start the tongue and groove paneling on this wall. Alright, I'm going to go down cellar now. Make sure I have enough length of wires in the cellar. The white one I think I get extra, so I'll pull some of this back. And then I'll cut the wires up top where the box is going to be. I bought a can of that expanding foam and put it around the door here to the cellar. Plug up any little gaps so mice don't get in. And then I also put some of it around where my conduit comes into the basement, and we'll trim off the excess another time. That's gonna do it for this trip. Just give you a little view of the color here on the trees. Here's looking the other way. I get some color over there. So I gotta pack up and head home. So if you liked the video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And until next time, be careful out there.